Lumbago, really?
Oh, Mr. Morgan.
Me too.
Oh, I am getting too old for this gallivanting.
Me too.
And here's Miss Grimshaw interrupting Arthur when she knows full well we have a video to film. Welcome back to part 2 of the Viewer Horse Show. Some of you guys submitted more than a few horses, and some of you guys had a lot to say. I'm not complaining, but it was a little overwhelming for me until I decided to break this into 2 videos. We have also included some of these stragglers and late horses. If you do not see your horse in this video, don't worry, you'll see him in the next one. Let's get started. Andre Razvan writes, "My horse is a mare and her name is Victoria. She's an Arabian horse with white coat. The saddle I use is the Stanger roping saddle from the stable. Her white coat gave me a sense of royalty, so I went and named my mare after Queen Victoria of the United Kingdom in the 19th century. In the end, I want to congratulate you for having such a unique gaming channel. No one in the RDR2YT community is so passionate about the game's horses. Keep it up." Thank you, Andre. I appreciate your kind words. I do love the horses in this game, and I know you do too, so you're not alone. Well done, friend. Capricorn Creates writes, "Here are my 4 lovelies. Wish we could have 100 stable spaces for all those great horses. Me too, friend. They are all rocking the Panther trail saddle that you showed me how to get. Here's Biscuit. She's a few-spotted Appaloosa and the sweetest thing. Whenever I ride off with her, I know I can count on her no matter what. I have never been thrown off her, nor does she cringe at the sight of wolves, bears, or guns. A true keeper and a beauty." And this is Diabolo, the hardest horse to find. I swear I saw all the rare horses more often than this gorgeous Blood Bay thoroughbred, which I named Diabolo in his fur's honor. He might be a big scaredy cat, but he tries his hardest to live up to the name. More often than not by running as fast as if the devil himself were chasing him away from anything that's bigger than a bug. However, I think Arthur just loves his big boa of mush. And Apollo, I know, another Appaloosa, but this time it's the leopard blanket, and I never intended of getting him, but he reminded me so much of a horse figurine I had when I was young, which I named Apollo, so I thought, why not let's just ride him to a stable. And oh boy, what a ride that was. I knew he was a keeper the moment I had barely reached level 1 bonding and no saddle on when a wolf pack came and attacked us. Instead of throwing me off, he trampled right over them and was super calm as I took care of the wolves. He sure is a brave boy. And last but not least, Adara, meaning noble beauty. This rose gray Andalusian is actually from my first playthrough, but I had to put her in here. I waited the whole game to ride this horse, and when I got her, I knew she was the one. She was perfect to me in every way, and in the end, Arthur's "That's my girl" personified. As soon as the last ride's music began, I started crying like crazy because I knew this would be it, and I only had 1 chapter to ride her. She died on the bottom of the mountain, but for me she belonged up there with Arthur. Sorry for the super long explanation, and I don't even know if you're going to use mine, but I think all horses in Red Dead Redemption 2 have their own character. Even if you'd have the same 4 horses in your stable, they'd be different. Or it could be me going crazy that I interpret so much into these animals. Thanks for the chance of getting my horses' stories out there, and most of all for your effort to create all these videos. Oh yeah, I tried to color coordinate Arthur's clothes with all the horses he's riding. Well done, friend. Those are some great looking screenshots, fantastic light, and I really appreciate how you coordinated Arthur. That's important. We should recycle these photos in the next fashion show. Looking good, and thanks for sharing. Caveman's Pit on YouTube writes, "This is Honey Boy, the Perlino Andalusian. He's the reason I came back to this game after I finished my first playthrough. Strong and brave, built like a tank. I use the Panther saddle on him. It suits him. He rams and kills people by accident, but enjoys a good brush and a pat. And Copper, the Flying Dutch Sooty Buckskin Dutch Warmblood, is probably my favorite overall horse in the game. Very versatile and easy to maintain. Big and tall with brass-like color coat. That's why I named him Copper. Also, I took him from a lawman, so... He has a beaver saddle, simple and unique design with great stats. A black American standard bred. I loved this horse so much in the first Red Dead Redemption game. It makes me feel better to have them in my stable, even though they're not the best horse in the second game anymore. I rode one named Hell's Bells and TNT for my first 2 playthroughs, and this current one is named Black Betty. They're all named after songs. She has a beaver saddle too. Hope this won't be too much of a redundancy for your projects. Good luck to your channel and good day. Very well done, James, and those are some fine horses and some great reviews. I really appreciate you sharing your horses with the community. Looking good, friend. Chris Becker writes, all trappers snake saddle and all stock mane and tail and all female. Eleanor, the only name for a female Mustang. I do know that movie, Chris. Great at anything. My daily driver and bomb-proof if needed. Boadicea, because I think she's a silver Dapple Pinto Missouri fox trotter. Arthur recognizes the species and that mission is not available for John, and Biscuit is not supposed to be female. My Saint Denis Boulevard cruiser to impress the ladies. Good night, a black Arabian. Night as for color, and good because I found her to make her mine. It was a good night. My endurance speedster. Alita, as in Alita Battle Angel, a strawberry Rhone Ardennes for the times you're up to no good. Bomb-proof and bulletproof. Bears, snakes, cats, and wolves are no problem, but she is not fond of gators. Ideal shooting platform for both humans and animals. And he continues, we got a real one as well. Brit, a gypsy vanner or Irish cob, with a Western Westwood butterfly round skirt saddle. Wow, Chris, it's such a treat to see an actual viewer horse, thank you. And I like your name choices. Alita Battle Angel is a great movie. Highly recommended. Well done, friend. Crazy024 Cub on PS4 writes, hey Superantonio, I'm a big fan and have been for 5 months or so. Thanks, friend, I appreciate it. So here's my horse named Milk Chocolate, a silver Dapple Pinto Missouri foxtrotter with the Cougar McClellan saddle. Also, your videos have been super helpful and have given me new information. Well, thanks again, friend, and I have to say your screenshots are also super helpful. The silver Dapple Pinto holds a special place in my heart, and this is an excellent action screenshot. Good job. Doc Skullhammer, a great friend of the channel and very active in the comments, writes, here's my lineup. A white Arabian named Sky. This is my 4th horse. A white beauty from the land of fluffy snow. I call her Sky. She's wearing a Panther saddle and proud of it. Look at that sun shining through her wafting mane. I love this horse. And a black Arabian named Knight with a K. My second submission is about leaving the earth when you want to. Here is my beautiful black Arabian headed for the sky at my command. Those guys behind me don't stand a chance. The horse's name is Knight. He's wearing a Panther saddle and is bound for the moon. This game is all about the freedom and fresh air we enjoy in Red Dead Redemption 2. It's about loping across the plain, admiring the clouds as they skid by. In the days of the pandemic, we are forbidden from embracing others, but we're not forbidden from embracing nature. This is my black Arabian, spooked by the nature of civilization. And lest my fans think I'm back to black Arabians all the time, take a look at my gorgeous Hungarian half-bred sprinting for my life and honor. She barely touches the ground. My piebald Tobiano is named Boadicea, as are all my piebald Tobiano Hungarian half-bred, since you presented such a good case that this breed may be the one that Arthur lost in Blackwater. And this is my silver Dapple Pinto, as Arthur would say. Night sky saluting the sky. He's wearing a Panther saddle too, so he's extra sassy. And the doc concludes, bland color palettes seem to beg the incursion of dark forces. Although bland, imagine the colors to be fast. Nothing bland about your prose, friend, or your horses. Thanks for sharing your noble steeds with the community. If you happen to see Doc Skullhammer in the comments, be sure to say hey there, mister. He's an excellent resource for the game and exactly who you want by your side if you're having to face down the entire Bolivian army. Well done, Doc. For a minute there, I thought we were in trouble. Edgar Salinas has Secretariat, a dark bay Turkoman with the Panther saddle, and he writes, thanks for doing this show, and huge fan of your channel. And thank you, Edgar, I appreciate your kind words, and I am also a huge fan of the Dark Bay Turk. He's in my top 3. Well done. Fox Lexi B on PS4 writes, here is my Blood Bay Thoroughbred I tamed outside Armadillo. The saddle is the rattlesnake saddle from the Trapper with the Panther blanket. Black everyday pants, brown Rambler boots, western snake spurs, black riding gloves, all upgraded weapon equipment, and the Legend of the East satchel. I do love all the thoroughbreds in this game, and I especially love how John's outfit matches his horse. Well done, friend, and thank you. Channel moderator and founder of Team Mohawk, Helen Tunnicliffe, submitted her stable of story mode and online horses, starting with Dave, an American standardbred with the alligator saddle. And she writes, first purchased in 2018. And here's Apollo, the golden Turkoman with the Vaquero saddle, and she writes, final horse on first playthrough. And here is her favorite screenshot of Arthur's final mission. Very cinematic, great to see a portrait of the Count and the gang horses, and there's Baylock. Also, here's Victor, a Blood Bay thoroughbred with the Vaquero saddle, later upgraded to Rattlesnake, and she writes, second playthrough, first tamed horse. And here's Ripley from Helen's favorite movie, a chocolate roan Dutch warmblood with the Rattlesnake saddle, and her comment is second playthrough 2020. And this is Charlie, the Black Arabian from the Saint Denis Stranger encounter. And from online here is R.P. McMurphy, Mac, a silver Turcoman with the Nacogdoches saddle. Also Tacitus Kilgore, a Criollo top collector horse with the same saddle. She writes, this horse is very similar in stats to the Missouri Foxtrotter. And finally, Baldric, a Grulodon Mustang with the snake saddle, and the caption reads, good to see you again. One can assume she's quoting the Trapper. Nicely done, Helen. It's great to see all of your horses. If you see Helen in the comments, be sure to say hello. She's a great resource for the game, both in story mode and online. Well done, Helen, and thank you. Hortus, a great friend of the channel, writes, these shots are both from really early in the game, so I've just got the Nuevo Paraíso saddle on them. If I'm being honest, I have to admit I don't normally bother naming my horses, but for your video's sake, let's call the Turcoman Turkey and the Missouri Foxtrotter Foxy. Well done, friend. Those are two of the best horses in the game, and Turkey and Foxy work just fine. Irene Charlotte writes, hello, superantonio. There are way too many horses that I want to show off, so I've decided to mention those who mean a lot to me, mainly due to how I got them or those that I've spent a lot of time getting. I also decided to focus on Arthur's horses, or you would probably be drowning in horses. Anyway, feel free to pick and choose between the photos, as I could not, since this is your video and I'm just grateful to get a chance to be a part of it. My YouTube name is Irene Charlotte. You might need to add Volstrom too, but I don't have anything Red Dead Redemption 2 or game related though, just some old horse videos and some music. Enjoy and have a wonderful day. Some facts about the horses. The Palomino Dapple American Standardbred Hasufel from Lord of the Rings, with the Rattlesnake Trapper saddle. This horse was one of my very first horses in the game. We galloped through thick and thin, and by luck or skill, not very likely, he survived throughout my very first playthrough to the bitter end. I truly adore this beauty, and even though he doesn't have the best health or stamina, this boy has got to be one of my favorites. Just take a look at that golden coat. The Silver Dapple Pinto Missouri Foxtrotter Boadicea with the Cougar Trapper saddle. Who doesn't find those dapples breathtaking? I also love to believe that this horse might be Arthur's Boadicea reborn, and I know her name was Biscuit, but she's supposed to be dead. So for all of my Arthurs, she is now named after his beloved horse that he lost. This horse is such a brave girl, and for some reason, Arthur really likes to compliment her with much more passion than he gives to the others. Yeah, I do think it's all in my head, though. The Red Chestnut Arabian, the Flame of the East, Fox from Harry Potter, with the Beaver Trapper saddle. When I first came across this horse, my eyes became ablaze by his beauty. The orange highlights are truly stunning, and his grace is admired by everyone Arthur meets along the way. I mean, just look at him. He even burns away the snow in the mountains. The Raven Black Shire, the Black Brute Beauty, Poseidon, with the Panther Trapper saddle. From the very first moment I saw that big black brute standing at Horseshoe Overlook, I've loved that tank of a horse ever since, and because Arthur gets the horse from Hosea, it has a special place in my stable heart. I also adore how Arthur felt a bit nervous due to his size and temperament, but ever since Arthur decided to keep him, he has been such a strong one. The Dark Bay Turcoman, Brago, a king among horses from Lord of the Rings. With both the Rattlesnake Trapper saddle and the Panther Trapper saddle, after I learned from you, of course, that Arthur could get his hands on this bronze beauty, I've managed to get his hands on plenty of them. Arthur really stands out with his long-legged horses, especially the Turcomans and Thoroughbreds, not to mention the Hungarian Halfbreds or the Andalusians as well, especially the Perlino and the Dark Bay. I mean, damn. And since all of the Turcomans are stunning, I had to take a photo with the golden one too. Like, who doesn't want some gold? Arthur sure does. The Black Rabicano Tennessee Walker, Murphy Broods edition. Andurel from Lord of the Rings. She's named after the sword that was broken but forged anew, and after Aragorn's verse 2, all that is gold does not glitter, and yes, I am a huge Lord of the Rings fan. with the Panther Trapper saddle. She is not the definition of beauty, but this horse has a special place in my dishonorable Arthur's heart, and due to the horse girl that I am, I could not find it in my heart to leave her with those terrible Murphy broods. But I also like the fact that the dishonorable Arthur, who shows no mercy to people whatsoever, is the one who decides to keep her. She might look like a bit of a cactus, just take a look at that first photo of her to see the similarities, but considering the life that she's had, she's truly one of my bravest. The Black Arabian Freya with the alligator trapper saddle. Last but not least, Arthur's Black Arabian. She reminds me of my own black Icelandic horse named Freya, the Norwegian name, who I've had since I was 8 years old or so. So this Arabian had to stay in Arthur's stable after we found her in Saint Denis. Some honorable mentions. I think the Andalusians also deserve to be on this list, both the Perlino and the Dark Bay. They really stand out with their strong, thick necks and stunning coats. My Dark Bay is named Diablo, and the Perlino is Rollo, after both Roanoke Valley and Vikings, Ragnar's brother. Wow, you write so beautifully, Irene, and like I said before, I could make a whole video off your horses alone. A fine collection, very cinematic screenshots, great horses, great names, and your Arthur's looking pretty heroic as well. Nicely done, Irene, and many thanks for sharing your spectacular horses with the community. This video is sponsored by Batmantonio, my second gaming channel where we play every other video game that isn't Red Dead Redemption 2. Like and subscribe for longer format deep dive gaming commentaries where I overanalyze and focus on the details. I apologize for the interruption and back to the video. Jack Das Gaming has a warped Brindle Arabian named Champ with a Gurdon Vaquero saddle, and he writes, I know many people don't like Arabians just because of their size, but I love the Arabians, especially this coat, and I think this coat kinda makes them look a little bigger and stronger. I prefer Arabians because of their speed. I play an honorable outlaw, and I like to use speed and acceleration to run away from fights, which might affect my honor status, and Arabians are the best at it. They are fast, awesome in gunfights, and they can take a few shots because of their huge health. And I have heard that they spook very easily, but I have not come across any such issue with this one. It holds its ground, even against predators if I go out hunting. The other coats have better stats than this one, but I find this coat very unique and very pretty. I like to use horses which many people don't, so this serves the purpose. And that is a fine-looking horse there, Jack, and these are some excellent screenshots. I also like how your Arthur's outfit complements your horse perfectly. A very honorable outlaw with one of the fastest horses in the game. Well done, friend. Jan Michael from Germany writes, my current #1 go-to horse is Emma, Gwydian's sister from another Mr., a brown leopard Appaloosa girl named after Emma Watson/Roberts. Yes, I am that type of guy. He continues, I always go after mares and name them after actresses and musicians. Don't even ask. Cute as 10 Easter bunnies, but tough and fast like the desert wind. Around Tumbleweed, where let's just say I found her, the saddle is the Panther Trail saddle. I never knew I would love work horses so much. They are good for carrying heavy carcasses. I would even go so far to say that the Appaloosa could also be classified as a war or race horses beside the work class. We are at our favorite place, Manteca Falls, at the San Luis River. My YouTube name is Jan Michael. Greetings from Germany. Looking good, Jan. These are some very cinematic screenshots, and the leopard Appaloosa is very pretty, and also a very pretty fast horse. Well done, friend. K-Ro writes, hey, been watching your videos for a while now, and when I saw a call for people to send in their own horses, my first thought was that I'd read it wrong. My second thought was that finally my time has come. I adore the horses in Red Dead, and the whole reason I got into Red Dead Online was because of all of the horses and customization options available that weren't there in story mode. As such, I decided to send in my horses from online, as they've got all their own set personalities and looks, as it were. I couldn't bring myself to pick just one, so all my faves have been sent over. No need to have one or any of them in the video, as I imagine you're being swamped by submission, but I just can't pass up a chance to talk about all my horse friends. I hope it'll be clear who is who, and I hope that the pictures do actually work. For my name, I don't really have a YouTube channel myself, so if you decide to pop a couple of these guys in, I'm happy to be known just as K-Ro. On to the horses. Valiance, a piebald Tobiano Hungarian half-bred with the Bellinger saddle. Initially, I wasn't too fond of this coat when I first played through the game, but after seeing pictures online and your videos on how to get one in the story, I fell in love with this tank. I never was able to get the piebald Tobiano to spawn for John at any camps, so when I delved into Red Dead Online, this boy was my first purchase. Valiance is exactly how his name implies, a brave, noble steed who stands loyally beside his rider. I always like to have a backstory for my characters, and the lady you see beside Valiance is Chris, an ex-police officer who now runs from those she once served beside. Valiance is one of the horses she'd ride in uniform, and she couldn't bear to leave the stallion behind when she went on the run. Now, on the opposite side of the law, Valiance has proven time and time again that he's with Chris and Chris alone. While he may toss his head and snort as gunshots echo around him, this absolute unit never falters, and just likes to plow through everything. He might not be the fastest, but he doesn't need to be, not when he can just turn around and trample whatever and whoever might be chasing him. Whisperwind, the silver Dapple Pinto Missouri Foxtrotter with the Nacogdoches saddle. I can only imagine that a load of other people have submitted this exact same horse, but how can you blame them? This horse may be crazy popular, but she doesn't leave you wondering why. The coat is gorgeous. The shaggy mane gets me every time, and I'm a sucker for blue-eyed horses. Both John and Arthur have this horse on my playthroughs, with Arthur getting his thanks to your videos, and so surely I didn't need a third, did I? Turns out I did. I like to imagine that Chris found Whisperwind up in the Grizzlies on a hunt, and was so enchanted by the mare she just couldn't pass her up. Whisperwind herself is very fond of her rider, so like to imagine that she was the first horse Chris has who learnt to pick herbs up and hand them to her rider. She might have more of a nervous disposition, but you would be afraid too if bullets began flying over your head. So long as she's allowed to keep moving, the mare does just fine. As we were riding back from taking this screenshot actually, we got caught in an O'Driscoll ambush, and Whisperwind held her ground beautifully throughout. A little bit nervous, but she's a determined horse, and does her absolute best. Levi, the black Norfolk Roadster, with the Delgado saddle. Levi proves that just because a horse isn't the strongest or the fastest, a careful rider and a strong bond make all the difference. His low health pool may make Levi a bit squishy, but I tend to be very careful with my horses, and so I've never found it to be a problem. He's a brave soul, and back when I was deciding between him and a black Cladruber, regularly swapping them out back and forth to try and decide, Levi ended up being attacked by a pack of wolves. It was in a tight spot with a sheer drop on the side of the road, and as we found ourselves caught between that sheer drop and the pack of wolves, I was certain Levi would rightfully throw me off. Yet instead of throwing me in the deep end, Levi spun around, let me kick him into gear, and trampled right through the pack of wolves so I could get some distance and pick them off. That moment stuck with me, and I ultimately kept this brave horse. He might have a little dog syndrome and a perpetually angry expression, but I like to think that's just because he's a very serious horse, who'll stick with his rider through thick and thin, as he's proven. And this is Commander, the rose-gray Norfolk Roadster, with the Nacogdoches saddle. Similar to Valiance, Commander is an old police horse who Chris used to ride and couldn't bring herself to leave behind. He's an old boy, older than Valiance, with a very serious look to him, as if he really knows his duty, but shouldn't be mistaken as an old soul who can't keep up with the rest of them. Also, like Valiance, I wasn't really fond of this particular coat when I first saw it, but after trying other horses out and having none of them click, I tried Commander, and here he is. The rose gray is just stunning in game, and this screenshot doesn't do him nearly enough justice. I really love black, white, and gray horses, and while he fits in with my stable, he stands out just as much due to that rose coloration. I really wish online had a proper photo mode like Story does, because it's when he moves that he really comes to life, and in Red Dead Online, you've only got the handheld camera to work with. Still, I think he looks very handsome here, even if the flies were bothering him in this shot. Looking good, Cairo. Those are some gorgeous horses you have here. And I really appreciate the time and effort you went into to share their history, and your character looks fantastic. Always nice to have some cowgirls representing amongst all these cowboys. Very well done, and thank you. Killer Kit 2000 has a horse named Parzival, a silver Dapple Pinto Missouri Foxtrotter with the Panther Trapper saddle. Also Hellcat, a female tiger-striped Mustang with the Panther Trapper saddle. Arthur is riding Mad Max, a black American standardbred with the ash and charcoal Gurdon Vaquero saddle. And here is Tarantino, a dark bay Turcoman with the Boar Trapper saddle. And Killer Kit 2000 writes, I'm an offline player in which I don't have Wi-Fi in my house. I named my horse after seeing too many movies. Parzival from Ready Player One, Mad Max, Quentin Tarantino, and Hellcat from the Dodge Challenger Hellcat. Looking good, friend. These are some fine choices, and Quentin Tarantino is one of my favorite modern directors. Very nicely done. Kitty Candyblood writes, my YouTube name is Kitty Candyblood. You may or may not remember me from a comment on the White Arabian, which is shown here, that I named Ghost. But anyway, here are my horses. Her name is Ghost, the female White Arabian, as I said before, because of how fast she is and she can appear and disappear in the snow just like one. Her name is Black Belle, the female Black Arabian, after the famous female gunslinger herself, and she is as feisty as that old Black Widow. Her name is Boadicea, the silver Dapple Pinto Missouri Foxtrotter, named after Arthur's beloved horse, and I just think it's a pretty name. And this is Kirobirosu, but if you can't sound it out to say it, just call him Cerberus, the dark bay Turcoman from the Braithwaite mission, named because I like the Japanese version better, and I tend to call him Kirby sometimes. P.S. The horse to the side is my temporary horse, Leia the Leopard Appaloosa. She wanted in on the photo shoot. I can certainly understand that, and there's always room for one more horse in my videos. All the horses are using the Panther saddle from the Trapper with the black charcoal improved saddlebags. Plus, I think it's the rusted bedroll. Thank you, Kitty Candyblood. These are some fine horses, and I love your username. You should make an anime or write something with that character. It is a perfect name that says everything it needs to say, like Tank Girl or Alita Battle Angel. Well done, friend, and thank you. Corey Tenchi 1920 has a raven black Shire named Kane with a Stanger roping saddle. Looking good, friend. A solid name for a solid horse, and Arthur looks great on him. Well done. Old humble Arthur Morgan writes, this is Copper, named after Arthur's dog, and I also feel it goes very well with the Dark Bay Turcoman's coat. And this is Zorro, my all-black American standardbred I found in Big Valley. The saddle is the Panther Snake, and the YouTube name is Old Humble Arthur Morgan. Well done, friend, and there's nothing humble about these screenshots. They are magnificent. Looking good. Resu Yuwu on PS4 writes, here is my beautiful and amazing white clad ruber named Kashmir. Solid ass horse. Stood down a grizzly without flinching and is one of my oldest horses. Even at rank 200, I still adore using her. I think the Panther saddle looks absolutely amazing, and it is my favorite all-over saddle. Well done, friend. I always like seeing the online horses, and I'm very curious about the Cladruber. And Kashmir is a beautiful name for a beautiful horse. Looking good. Ryan W. writes, these are my horses. They are a noble group of steeds. First is Lady, a dark bay Turcoman, probably my favorite, with the Panther Trail saddle. Next is Penelope, my silver Dapple Missouri Foxtrotter. She is a beauty and earned because I never found her in game and had to buy her. She is saddled up with the beaver roping saddle. Next is another of my favorites, my warped Brindle Arabian Sadie, named after the baddest female in the game, and a lady with a true wild side. She is saddled up with the beaver roping saddle. Last is my tiger-striped Mustang. Her name is Broken Falls because we wreck a lot and run into things. Well, anyway, you get the joke. She is geared up with the beaver roped saddle also. Well, that's my collection. Hope you liked them. Taming and finding horses is my favorite part of the game, and I didn't know I needed it in my life until now, but yeah, I do. Anyway, thank you for doing this and keep up the good work. I am one of your biggest supporters and I love your channels. Thanks, Ryan. I really appreciate that. And these are some fine-looking horses. Well done, friend. Sam is a new subscriber but very active in the chats during the premieres, and she writes, hey, this is my horse, Eagle Feather. Sorry for the quality. No worries, Sam. They look great. He's an American Paint Tobiano, a very reliable boy I named Eagle Feather because I found him near the Wapiti Indian Reservation. And I like to imagine he belonged to an Indian from the tribe before his previous master was shot and killed. Looking good, Sam. I'm really happy you got your photos in on time, and thank you for sharing Eagle Feather and his story. Well done. Serena Williams, a longtime supporter and great friend of the channel, has Jupiter, a dapple rose gray Cladruber with the Martinville saddle. Amber, a rose Criollo with a Nacogdoches saddle. And here's Beauty, the female Norfolk Roadster with a Delgado saddle. And Pebbles, the silver dapple Missouri Foxtrotter with the Martinville saddle. This is Snow Queen, a white Arabian with the Nacogdoches saddle. And Vanilla, a white Cladruber with the Martinville saddle. And here is Lucille, a red chestnut Arabian with a Nacogdoches saddle. I know this horse. Serena has used her in many of her videos. And from story mode, here's Buell with the Gurdon Vaquero saddle. Also Rachel, the seal brown thoroughbred with the Gurdon Vaquero saddle. And Electra, another red chestnut Arabian with the Gurdon Vaquero saddle. Also Diamond Star, a silver dapple Missouri Foxtrotter, again with the Gurdon Vaquero saddle. We get it, Serena, you love the Gurdon Vaquero saddle. Here's Vanilla, the few spotted Appaloosa. And Beauty, the black Arabian. And Prince, the iron gray Ardennes. And finally Snow Queen, the white Arabian. Serena Williams has been with the channel from the start, since before we had 100 subs. We couldn't have gotten here without her help. If you see her in the comments, be sure to say, "Excuse me, madam," behind you. Looking good, Serena, and many thanks. Shauna Roberts writes, "Hi, Superantonio. I'm going to try to enter my Red Dead Redemption 2 horses in your horse show. I apologize in advance if it isn't done properly, as I'm not very handy with any of this. My YouTube name is Shauna Roberts. You're doing great, Shauna. No worries." Here is my all-time favorite mount, Brienne. She is the Perlino Andalusian. I believe she is the best horse in the entire game. She is beautiful, brave, loyal, and built like a brick shithouse. What more could you want from an equine companion? I am using the alligator saddle that the trapper crafted for me. I'm not the best hunter, as I always get distracted by the horses and end up riding and not hunting. No worries, I can always eat berries. I also have a Gurlo-Dun Mustang named Silvio. He is named after my favorite Bob Dylan song. I also have Buell. He is a big, brawny, temperamental brute who is generally a pain in my butt, but I keep him because Hamish asked me to. Hamish was a good friend. My last equine companion is the Amber Champagne Missouri Foxtrotter. His name is Johnny Ringo because I have a real horse named that, and he looks very similar to the in-game one. If you're ever in the vicinity of northern Illinois, give me a shout. You are cordially invited to stop by and hit the trails on a real horse with me and my horse riding friends. I have a real Cremello, and he is just as beautiful as Buell. You would look amazing on him. I hope this works okay. Thanks for all your amazing videos. You rock. Wow, Shauna, anything is possible, and I may take you up on that one day. For the next horse show, you should send in some of your actual horses. I'm sure the community would love to see them. Johnny Ringo is one of my favorite characters from one of my favorite movies, but I have to tell you, he is no daisy. Well done, Shauna. Teague Harper, a great friend of the channel, has Zeus, a male Perlino Andalusian with the new Panther snake trapper saddle, and he writes, "John caught him in the wild and tamed him. John also learned that he is one of the best horses to own. Well done, Teague. Strong, solid, gorgeous. What's not to love? Looking good, friend." From Whippernet, we have Rarity, the Piebald Tobiano Hungarian half-bred. They write, "Arthur found her near Rhodes. She has a bare saddle with a glitched-on Panther blanket." And here's Splashy, the white splashed American paint. Arthur spent many days going from one camp smoke to the next to find her. This is Ghost, the Perlino Andalusian. The Panther saddle looks great with his coat. Look at those muscles. Arthur also owns Golden Coat, a Silver Bay Kentucky saddler. And finally, Success, the Silver Dapple Pinto Missouri Foxtrotter. Started a second playthrough just to get her. Whippernet writes, "My Arthur prefers black and white horses, golden and lighter coats. He likes braids on his mares. Arthur believes that a saddle should be discreet. The focus should be on the horse, not the saddle. I can understand that, especially with such fine horses. And these are some great names and fantastic screenshots. Well done, friend." William R. on PS4 writes, "His name is Coulter. He's a Tennessee Walker." I'm William. I hope I made the deadline. Just in time, William, and that's not just any Tennessee Walker. That's the Mahogany Bay Tennessee Walker, a unique coat, the only one in the game and Arthur's first horse. The Coulter reference is excellent. I myself used to name this horse Coulter. It suits him perfectly. Well done, friend. Zeke Wilson, a great friend of the channel and very active in the comments, writes, John and his partner in crime, Silver Shroud. Looking good, Zeke. You can't go wrong with a silver Turkmen. He will serve you well. And finally, Rosanna from the YouTube channel Dry Canyon has a black Arabian named Black Currant with the Nuller Dakota saddle in ash and smoke. And she writes, I love her elegance, speed, and beautiful black glossy coat. And here's Frosty, a strawberry roan Ardennes with the Stenger roping saddle in hickory and ash. And she writes, I fell in love with this horse after seeing one that was dead with the crashed wagon driver. Named her after my favorite breakfast cereal. And she also drew a picture of Biscuit, which is so charming it just about broke my heart. Note, she even drew the Civil War hat. I love this picture, Rosanna. Thank you so much. And yes, we are going to do a viewer art video, so you'll be seeing this picture again. Frosty and Black Currant are fine horses, but it's your own fault for drawing Biscuit, who stole the show. Many thanks, friend. Looking good. That was so much fun for me. Thank you. I really enjoyed seeing all of your horses and sharing your thoughts and comments. We're going to turn this into a regular Sunday event that we shall call Viewer Mail. More details to follow. I'll see you soon. I'm Superantonio. Thanks for watching. I appreciate your views. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell for daily Red Dead Redemption 2 content, and we shall meet again. Further on down the trail.
Good girl.
Get your horses ready! We have a train to rob!